The whole point to covering your cake in fondant is to get a perfectly smooth, flawless finish. But if you lay that fondant onto a bare cake, you'll get lumps, bumps, and the color of the cake showing through. In this video, I'll show you how to cover your cake in a layer of buttercream to act as a crumb coat, which will give you a perfectly smooth start to cover your cake with fondant. If you're used to finishing your cakes in buttercream only, when you hear the term crumb coat, you probably think of a thin layer of buttercream on the outside of the cake, just enough to hold in the crumbs. In the world of fondant finished cakes, the crumb coat is actually a much thicker buttercream finish, which not only holds the crumbs into the sides of the cake, but prevents you from seeing any of the cake through your fondant finish. Say if you have a chocolate cake and you're finishing a cake with white fondant. You can start your crumb coat just by using a spatula and scooping buttercream onto your cake, but I find using a piping tip gives you a much smoother, cleaner finish. I have here a pastry bag fitted with a rather large basket weave tip. It has a smooth side and it has a side with ridges. We're going to use the smooth side to finish the cake. To pipe on my crumb coat, I'll start on the sides of the cake, just piping on thick ribbons of buttercream. When piping this layer, this doesn't need to look especially nice or finished. You just want to have enough buttercream to entirely cover the sides and top of your cake. Now that the sides are covered, I'm going to finish the top just by piping in concentric circles, starting from the outside, working in. Now that I've piped enough buttercream onto my cake, I'm going to smooth it using a large spatula. I'll start with the sides, and you don't want to apply so much pressure that you squish the buttercream off of the sides of the cake, just enough to close those seams from where you've piped. Wipe off any excess buttercream that starts to build up on your knife. You'll notice that the buttercream that I'm using is not at all stiff. It's light and fluffy. I had it refrigerated and then I brought it back to this consistency using the whisk attachment in the stand mixer. Once I've worked my way around the outer edges of the cake, I'll move to the top, again closing seams. And I'll do one last pass around the sides of the cake. To smooth the top of the cake and to get rid of this little ledge that's formed by smoothing the sides, you'll hold your spatula at an angle and pull it towards you, knocking down that little ledge. When your cake is smoothed all over, you'll want to place it back in the fridge for about 2 hours to allow the buttercream to set up. Once set, you can take another pass on your buttercream with the knife, just smoothing any rough edges that you may have left behind.